Okay. So we start with the definition of, or let's say, Kabbalistic definition of spirit. I know that from, let's say, the talk or the usual discourse, we tend to actually to mix soul, spirit, ruach, which is very difficult. You can say like the Holy Ghost. Okay, so it's a ghost in this. So the Zohar and definitely Ari and Baal Hasulm is teaching us that actually there are 5 levels to, one can say, to, I want to be very accurate. There are 5 levels to divine consciousness. Okay. So soul, as a, let's say, as a general term, need to be sort of looked at. So what we call, or what the Zohar call soul, that is at the level of existence, is called a very Nehiru Dekik, a very thin light. A very thin light means the minimum power or of light that will allow humans, fauna, flora, and still life to exist. It means that still life, fauna, flora, and, or let's say flora and fauna and human are 5 degrees inside the soul of existence. Okay, so first I need to explain something very fundamental. It means that the degree of power of consciousness is expressing itself in the dress or in the form or shape of that life. Meaning that when I look at that, I don't know if you can see it, I'm pointing at the plant on my table. I can say that the degree of consciousness that exists in this form of life is of flora. Mainly it has to do with ghost. Why? Because there is a certain degree of movement in it. It can move its roots. It can look for water. It can look for nourishment. It can go to the sun. But this is this we have also in ourselves at the level of this world, or soul of souls, what is called. Okay. So all these degrees, or for example, still life has what is the power of still life? The power of still life is mostly keeping its form. How do we know? Because we need to invest power in order to change it. So everything that is a keeper of the shape is one can say this is nefesh. This is soul. Soul of existence is the power to keep existent, to want to live, what we call. Okay. So this is, we're still on a different level of, in this world, in the world of corporality. Okay. One can say that as long as we have this consciousness, when we're surviving existence, we have the still life, which is keeping, survival, one would say. Then we have another level, which is of flora, which is extending and being able to fetch, more of to ourselves and to procreate. And then we have the fauna, which has in it not only that we can stretch ourselves, but we can actually move ourselves and create, this is fauna do as well, but to create relations, let's say a relation of a herd. This is what we call family, to create family. Families or tribe, okay? So relation that actually support and ensure, this is to do with security, ensure the continuation of our consciousness, and as well give us some sort of security of existence, because we are, if we are frail or old, there are those who are committed to us through blood, through continuation of blood. So, and now we have what is called the speaker or human. Okay. You see, humanity is sort of is defined by the Kabbalistic term as a more refined or sophisticated communicative animal, but it's still on that level. So you see that the development is actually on one vector of, and this is why we call it development and not evolution. And one can say that at a certain point, Baal Hasulm will say, what actually will differentiate or will allow actually a human choice, not when he's moving alongside one line, which is improving our corporal life, improving our, as well, knowledge. So we use knowledge, or us, human, use knowledge in order to actually gain a better control over their life. So it's wisdom, it is to do with education, it has to do with furthering through, one can see it very, furthering our control over nature. Okay. Now there is a drastic point. So if a person had grown in oneself really a very strong self-aware consciousness, we call this ego. Receiving from oneself, which is very developed, it is so developed that it can even disguise itself as goodwill. Okay. So, and it is very clear that in order to start the study, one must have a very big ego or a self-consciousness. Otherwise, we are not interested for the higher. Because we need to have a big vessel that's true. It's very much interested in itself, but because it is so interested in itself, it comes to a dead end in itself. It reaches, one can say, the edges of its restriction, or the edges of what the human mind can actually devise. Because if the will is throughout all this development, the will is to receive for oneself. It doesn't matter that I join others. As I said, it's like the law of cartel. you join others in order to achieve more control, so you'll get more. Okay. So in order to turn this around, we need this self-consciousness. Inside this, you can, or the Kabbalah is saying that even if we touch Torah, it doesn't say that we are studying actually for something else except ourselves. And something in the world, when it's awakened in us, try to show us. And that is the beginning of us knowing the fact of lo lishma and what it means to move into lishma. But this starts only when one is saying that the point in the heart is awakened. And that's on the verge or on the screen between soul of souls, and what awakens here is soul of spirit. So it means that when we speak about soul in a corporal language, or in corporal discourse, from the standpoint of the spirit, is saying that it is detached, separated from the consciousness of its root. The consciousness of its root, or its arising, is called spirit. Okay. Spirit is something that awakens in us to see that this spark of godliness is entrapped inside the will to receive to oneself. Now we start to have a choice. Before that, there's no choice. Okay? All right. So now war starts. True war starts. Yeah. The war starts between what actually I would wish I would choose. So the spirit is struggling. It's like, if you want, in terms of history, it's like Israel awakens in the womb of Egypt. So they are, not only that they are enslaved, they become aware that they are enslaved. It's, we know that a person can be enslaved for many years or even generations, but what actually is awakening him and starts to enable the thought even of liberating himself is the awareness that he is a slave, and the awareness that there is a different source of himself. Okay. So it seems that when we have this calling in ourselves, and it cannot continue to live under the values and restriction and dominion of the thought or the consciousness of the enslaver, which is the will to receive to oneself. So you have to find yourself. It's like it needs to find a different environment or a different ecology which will nourish it and will allow it to grow. So basically, truly, our only choice is the surrounding or the environment. Yeah. We call it the environment of common intention to liberate our spirit. And what can facilitate it is keeping the intention, growing it, but now not growing it in that direction, but in that direction. Into first the world of Asiya. Okay. This is how you write Asiya? Yeah? Okay. Okay, so world of Asiya. Yeah, okay. Yetzira, Bria. Okay. So now we start a different language, a different discourse. Okay. Now, so here we're saying this will be the first time that soul in the world of Asiya actually does not relate to how much I'm going to gain from the world, but is starting to ask different questions because of the awakening of the point in the heart. So what is this point in the heart? Well, what kind of name we can give it? It means that all human beings have a potential spirit, but not an activated spirit. They will be awakened, yeah. So the fact that we're saying everyone's got a spirit is wrong. You can have a spirit only if you're conscious of it. If you're not conscious of it, it does not exist for you. It doesn't. It needs to be awakened to create actually an opposition of the direction and the meaning and the purpose of your life. Okay. I know that the question of meaning can arise here, but the question of meaning that arises in the soul or corporeal is how actually I can give meaning to myself. The question of the soul of spirit is how do I give meaning to God? It's a bit different. Because this is actually how Ray is saying that the cause of creation was that he will be able to reveal its actions, his actions, his name, and his appellation. Where can he reveal it? Only in the consciousness of the spirit, or consciousness of human. So it means that my concern is completely different here when the point of the heart. My concern is, am I going to fulfill the meaning of my creation and be a vessel of his revelation? Not whether I'm going to fulfill myself. It's the opposite of all the language of New Age. We are not here to fulfill ourselves, to be happy, and merry and fulfilled. No, we're here, or one can say, the true fulfillment that is possible is only being a vessel of a revelation of the thought of creation. This what changes our thoughts. Okay, so the first thought that is actually revealed here is that we are in opposition. All his will is to bestow, and all of me can be summed up in how and how much and how quickly I will fulfill myself. Okay. So how do I allow this fragile point that has been awakened in me, which now I must add, this is in parentheses, but very important. It's not a result of something that I did. It's not a result of behaving nicely. It's not a result of praying hard. It's a result of the thought, of the plan, of the web of spirit, which spirits need now to awaken, that they will serve best the whole web of spirits. And therefore, and the web of spirits, this is the only a connective or connected web of spirit, which is called Shekhinah. This is the only place that Creator is willing to reveal itself. And therefore, be holy means, as it is said, ואהבת לרעך כמוך. Mean connect yourself with intention, with a certain sentiment, so you can be holy. It means that you overcome your wish or the nature of your will to receive to yourself, and you are able to bestow to someone, to someone's maybe. Okay, and it's as well a question what to bestow. So one can say that we are now, if we walked, now we are coming into a rope or into a ladder. So here will be soul in the world of Asiya. In the world of Yetzirah, it will be the ghost. In the world of Bria, it will be the spirit. In the world of Atzilut, it will be called Chaya, meaning the source of life. And in the world of Adam Kadmon, it will be called Yechida. Okay, so it collects all the actions together. So there are 5 levels, actually, and we call them all the 5 levels according to the pivot point, which is the spirit. Okay. Bria is to do with Bina, and Bina is one can say the root or the source of spirit. Why? First, it as well gives us the idea, one can say, of why actually we call it the awakening of the point in the heart. It's like the awakening of Malchut by Bina. It's like Bina is tapping on the consciousness of Malchut and saying to her, you're opposite, and you're opposite, you stand in opposition to the purpose of your creation. You stand in opposition to your creator. I'm here to awaken you to the fact and to help you. Because Bina is the first from 4 aspects of light. If we speak in consciousness, she's the first to perceive that if Chokhmah, which is the root of accepting or of receiving, will continue without any measure of intention, or if the extension of Chokhmah will continue without interfering or without overcoming the pleasure of the gift, we will forget the giver. We'll be so overwhelmed with the gift, we will forget to think about who gave it to us. So Bina is the awakening of the consciousness of who gave it to us, and how do we get closer to its qualities. The first quality of the creator is being able to give. So now equivalence of form will be coming near to the quality of being able to give, being able to bestow. Well, what is the thought? We know that the Kabbalist form the thought of creation, his will to bestow goodness to his creature. How do we connect to that and at least act act in the same way or cause our will, our being to be closer to that. Okay, yeah. So it means that now it seems that the power to move through the ladder, okay, this will be ruach, okay, and that will be zeranpin or tiferet, okay, that will be malchut, okay, okay. So in order to move to the source, we need to evolve, yeah, to evolve into that kind of relation with, one can say, our true self, our true I, not the one that is only a will to receive to oneself. So the world and the level of the spirit are actually measurement of our proximity or distance from that purpose or from the creator. Okay, so you can say that soul, ruach, spirit, chaya, yichida, and our measurement of attainment of equivalence of form to the creator. The measurement of consciousness, of how much in my life here on earth I invest in that will, in that purpose, in that intention. Do I choose the right ecology that can actually help me in its value to further my connection and my service? So this is how it ties these two together. Okay. So it seems that the world and the consciousness inside it. So we know that all those words, all this is Atzilut, yeah, and this is Adam Kadmon. So all this is called separated world because they give us the sense of the separation. Apart from the higher part, let's say, of Bina, of Bria. Okay. Patterns of the separated world are called broken spirit. Not that the spirit are broken, their connection is broken. Okay. But it is degrees of the soul of the spirit, the ruach of the spirit of the spirit. They have this longing and they pledged themselves to actually climb this ladder and to fulfill whatever they can, but truly whatever they can in order to fulfill their service or their duty. So it is said, now if we go to Tzimtzum 1, when Malchut actually set the law that unless she paid tribute of attitude and relation to the creator, there is no vessel in her. The vessel of acceptance will be only that kind of attitude, this kind of longing or this kind of relation to the light. This is the new vessel. And this is actually what dictates the law of our advancement or our attainment or our study. How much truly we are willing to give to the study, to the change of ourself, so the creator can actually appear or reveal itself in our reality. Okay, so this is how it sort of binds